the reason I ask is because the Jamie self-titled album, it was more yourself and then kind of experimenting a lot.
Yeah.
And then Building a Beginning was you have a band, and it was much more inclusive.
True.
If that's the right word, but
no, it's a good word. I mean, but it was deliberate, you know. I just feel like that's what I wanted to make. I mean, I really wanted to make music that was, that communicated a clear, simple message. And for some people, that's like too clear, you know. And I understand that, but it was really important to me to sort of to do that, to kind of go, what am I really trying to say? And I'm going to say it in a really, really clean way, with nothing in a way. I realize it takes me courage to do that. It's quite easy to hide behind cool, you know, and sort of say nothing, but sort of have like a kind of a good beat. Like when it comes down to actually putting yourself on the line and going, what do you really care about in your life? Are you going to actually say it? You know, it's harder. And it makes you more vulnerable, and it's a weird challenge because sometimes people don't want to hear it. But anyway, you know, that was important to me because I was becoming a dad and I wanted to think this was a document timepiece around about when he was going to be born. So you don't have much time, do you, on this planet? So you've got to leave behind something that means something to you.
That's interesting because. And this is a little bit unfair, but how do you look back at your previous albums?
Yeah, I mean, just exactly what I was feeling, you know, like I was saying before. I like when I just feel, they all had a very different setting. When I made Multiply and Jim, for example, I was living in Berlin. You know, I had a very different looking life. I was much more confused in a way. I was running around just trying to please everyone, I felt like. And I think a lot of people can run into that, you know, trying to please ideas of people in your mind. And, you know, then when I went to Nashville, things changed. And when I made Compass, that was a different setting. I was with Beck and I was with Chris Taylor, a Grizzly Bear, and hanging with my wife. And it's just like, you know, it's your life, isn't it? You can't lose your life and sort of stay in some weird vacuum. It's really important for it all to infuse everything, I think. You can't avoid it anyway. It's in there. It's all in there. It's all going to come out.
You mentioned Multiply and kind of the time it was released. And was it because you got a lot of offers from major labels? And was it difficult to kind of stay away from that or not give in too much and keep going on your own path?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when you are successful, even slightly, there is that temptation to just keep doing the same thing. And to an extent, you know, that's smart. It's smart because, you know, you're obviously making something that's talking to people. But I think you just have to be careful to make sure it's really what you want to do, because if it's not, people also know that.
Right.
You know, so you can't. I think it's very easy to think that the public are kind of stupid and that you can just give them the same old thing again and again, but they're not stupid. In fact, if you walk out on stage and you're faking it, they know instantly. They just know instantly. Combination of body language, whatever, and you know, it's just one of those things where you just have to be careful. You can think about music as a business, and you can think about like how you come across best. But you just have to be very careful with that attitude. I think you can just quickly become trapped in a branding exercise and just feel like a caricature or something, you know, and just kind of think, what have I done, you know? I'm now not loving this. So things are balanced.
But am I right in saying that, and I read about this, so, but with Building a Beginning, you're very much comfortable and right where you want to?
Definitely. I mean, well, I mean, you know, there's always, I mean, not all songs are like sugary sweet, you know, there's a lot on the album actually that's quite, you know, reaching. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think it's just a statement of how it's been the last few years, and that's what I want to do.
And the album was released last year, so have you already been writing new stuff?
I've been doing a lot more co-writing with other people, which I love, and it always informs me of like what I like, how I want to write my new stuff. So
yeah, because that's what I'm getting at. Are you already noticing things of what you might want to do, or are you noticing things about what you're writing now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, music's all around and it never stops. So if I pick up my phone and do a little voice sketch, you never know. If I've got time, I might just turn it into something. But I've been doing a lot more co-writes, and it just gives me an opportunity to still write and in a way be more free, just to not have myself in the equation, you know.
Finally then, because on your previous album it was a one-man show, it was just you. Now you're with the band.
Yeah.
What is it like being on stage now? Was that something you missed, being on stage with a group of guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely harder to make a solo show. You know, there's some people that really do it great. I mean, and I think I used to really have the passion to do that. I still really like doing it, I'll be honest. I really enjoy the challenge of it. And it's a bizarre process, but more people. I've also realised that in my life I've been quite separated from people, you know, from my upbringing, just kind of my mindset, and that actually I'm happiest when I'm with other people and we're like doing something together, like whatever it might be. So I think that's just kind of a realisation in my life, you know. I mean, it makes everything a lot more difficult in some ways. But when you've got that support and everyone's like doing something together, you can't beat that, you know. It's just that team feeling, you know, like when you're on the winning team, you just kind of get this rush of just like, wow, we all did that, and like, man, it's just you know, when you're on your own, there's no one to high five, right? Just high five yourself.
Finally then, because before the interview started, you mentioned being on stage is not like nothing else. So and this might be too grandiose to explain, but what goes through your mind when you go on stage? What is the experience like for you?
Well, I really want to make sure that you know, I'm present. I just want to make sure that I listen to the lyrics of my own songs, and that I try to like not rush through it. Time goes very quickly up on stage. So the whole day is spent waiting. It's what everyone will tell you who performs. It's like you wait, and then as soon as you're on stage, it's like the lights are on, you're aware of everything, but at the same time you're kind of out of yourself, kind of watching from the outside.
Is there one performance recently that you remember or that stuck with you?
I mean, we did a show at Coco in London, like with the last band. That just sort of, my mum was in the audience, and she's a very tough critic. It just really felt like everything was right. Band were great. I felt really good. My voice was really strong. And, you know, I just felt like sometimes you just feel like you get beyond a certain level to the point where you feel so comfortable that you feel like, you know, your comfort makes the audience comfortable, and it's just sort of becomes this great experience where time is just like putty a little bit, and it's just, this is cool. It's not really even about it's not really about ego. It's actually the opposite. You actually feel just kind of connected to something bigger. It's like, yeah, it's a bit spiritual basically. It's what you want. That's what you're looking for. Looking for that moment when you're not important. You know, it's like that's what. The thing, if you're all about, like, this show's about me, like, you miss the whole point of it. The whole point is the show is about losing yourself to the point where you're, like, just, you're letting it move through you. You're kind of just not in the way, you get out of the way.
Right.
I'm a big believer in that, actually, because I felt it a few times in my life. And it's an awesome feeling, because you just feel like, cool, man, how's this happening? I'm not even thinking right now. It's like just a magical right brain feeling. feel connected to everything. It's like electric. Yeah. So I hope that happens tonight.
Let's hope so.
I'm sure it can, man. There's always going to be moments.
Well, I hope it will.
Yeah, definitely.
Jamie, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.